All right, Archie, showing that we are live on Facebook right now, so you can share it with your friends.
Okay, there we go.
All
I
right,
see
we're
it.
good. Okay. All righty. So, welcome, everybody to Financial Freedom Friday. This is Crystal Oliver, your new favorite financial coach. I got my clipboard with me today, and I am coaching you guys to financial freedom. So, it's Friday, it's 9 o'clock. I got the guru on the line with me tonight, Mr. Archie Kern. So, welcome, Archie.
Thank you for having me.
So this topic that we're talking about tonight is a topic, and I was kind of explaining to Archie earlier, is a topic that has come up several times in the last few months that I have been working with people one-on-one. And it's a topic around credit after a divorce. And so what happens is that a lot of people are switching from a two-income household to a one-income household. And so what I've been able to do is just kind of walk them through their budget and kind of revamping their savings. Especially, I have worked with both men and women and helping them to kind of look at life differently and how they will function financially in terms of being on a one income. And so a lot of times we get to that credit conversation. And so I know how to help people kind of rebuild credit from nothing. I mean, to build credit from nothing or help them to rebuild their credit. But I have kind of been at a loss in terms of what do you do after a divorce and kind of after you have mingled your funds and kind of have both names and on mortgages, on credit cards, on car loans. And so I brought Archie in tonight to answer those questions. I have a few people that either email me questions or DM me questions about this particular topic. And then Budget Me Black overall is doing what we call a summer series where we're bringing in experts to answer those questions that we don't have the answer to. We're not trying to say we have all the answers. And so we're bringing in experts. So we're bringing in experts for the next couple of months to help us answer certain questions. So tonight it is about credit after divorce. And Mr. Archie Kern is in the building. Thank you, Archie.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. So I guess the first thing I do is answer some of the questions that you did get. And anybody that has a new question, I guess they can, if they're watching live, they can type it in there, and we'll be able to see those and go over those questions as well. Um, One of the questions that you sent me, I think is a really good question, is how do you build your credit back up after having to start over again from square one? So, um, one of the things uh, about, I mean, getting divorced is deciding who gets what, who's taking what, who's keeping the house. Are we going to sell the house? Who's keeping this car? Are we going to sell the car? After those things are done, then it's kind of like how you said. Now we got to find a budget. Now, because you're starting all the way back over by yourself again. My mom went through a divorce years ago, and I think the hardest thing for her was to like re-budgeting, her expenses, rebudgeting her life, rebudgeting everything that she already did, outside of kids, because she didn't have we were grown and in college by then, so she didn't have her kids, but still she had to rebudget and replan her entire life.
Mhm.
So I would suggest my suggestion, my opinion, um, what I've seen also that works best is to first start off with, all right, who gets what? All right, once that's agreed upon, whether you gotta get lawyers involved or whatnot, once that is agreed upon, now that you've gotten, say the car or say the house, now I gotta make this is my budget. I'm a plan on these things being in my daily expenses. So if you were both using a credit card, whoever was the primary user, that person is the primary holder of that card because they can decide to take it off or not. So my wife is authorized using all my card, but God forbid if something was to happen between us where we would separate, those cards are my responsibility. on a credit application. She could have swiped up a whole bunch of debt on there, but in the long run, those cards are my primary responsibility.
Mhm.
So if you see that your relationship is heading toward that area, one of the things that you want to do if you're an authorized user is to go ahead and get off those cards. If the debt is yours, go ahead and pay your part of the debt. If not, if the debt is not yours, then you're free and clear. Just get off those authorized users card. If the debt was co-joined, to mean that y'all went and bought furniture together, right? Y'all went and bought furniture together. Well, whoever gets that furniture should be the person responsible paying the rest of that debt off. That's my opinion. It doesn't always work like that. Some divorces are messy, and some divorces are not as simple as I just said it. But ideal.
Let me ask you a quick
Yes,
question, Archie, that people may have. How do you take yourself off as an authorized user?
Some cards, you can literally just go online. If they have the online access, they can go online and then just remove themselves. Some cards, the primary holder has to call and remove them. If they don't have online access to the card, they can ask the primary holder to remove them. If they do have access to the card, like I said, they can just go online themselves. And if the person is being rude about it and not doing it as fast as they should and shouldn't be doing it, they can call the credit card company, give them their social information, let them know that, and just say, I didn't ask to be an authorized user. Me and this person are no longer together. I've asked them to remove me. They haven't. And then the credit card company will normally do it during that time. If that doesn't happen, if the credit card company doesn't remove it, then you can dispute it as like a fraudulent charge on your credit, because you again went through all the rings of trying to get it removed off your credit report. You asked the card holder, you called the credit bureaus, you did it online. Now, if it hasn't been done, then technically, since it's not your card, you're no longer asking to be an authorized user. It becomes like almost fraudulent. I hate to say that word, but it's you've done everything you're supposed to do to try to get removed from the card. So now you dispute it as it's an inaccurate account.
Okay. Good.
All right. See here. Another question that you had is, what's the best tactic to eliminating debt? Perfect. I hate Dave Ramsey. I hate him. I really do hate the dude because what he teaches is for rich people, and people in the middle class and poor areas try to follow Dave Ramsey method, and they end up, they save a little money, of course, but they don't grow. And then what Dave Ramsey teaches is for an employee mindset. It's for a person that just wants to work, and there's nothing wrong with this, but it's for a person that just want to work, do the minimum. They want to get their life together and let their kids do their own thing, have a little bit for the kids. That's how I see Dave Ramsey, and I hate him. But I do love his.
I'm not a complete hater of Dave, so just.
I'm not a complete hater.
Let me tell you this. I do like the dead snowball, but you don't like.
I was just about to get to that. Okay. That's my but. Okay. But I like his snowball method. That is the only thing about Dave Ramsey that I do like with the snowball method. Okay. So the best way to eliminate debt is doing the snowball method. And I can explain that with it. A lot of people try to go through debt consolidation programs, which is the absolute worst mistake you can make for us credit wise. It helps you get the debt eliminated, but it's terrible and it affects you really, really bad on your credit. What most credit consolidation companies do is the very first thing they do is tell you stop paying all your cards. I stop paying this, stop paying that, stop paying this, don't pay this anymore because it's now under us. That's a lie. All right. It doesn't really get under them until you start about 180 days after no payments. Then after 180 days of no payment, those creditors, they then charge it off. Well, the first person to know that you haven't been making payments is that debt consolidation program. So they go in and buy the debt from that company at pennies on the dollar because they charge it off as a write-off. Now you're paying all that money back to that debt consolidation company, and they just got it for a little bit of nothing. So they are technically a collection agency. Debt consolidation programs are not good for you credit wise. As far as saving money.
In the process, you ruined your credit because you haven't paid any of
your. Oh no,
you
tore your credit up.
Okay.
So in the process of eliminating
a lot of money off of you.
And they make a lot of money. So in the process, you're killing your credit. You're saving money, but you're killing your credit. So the best method, if you want to keep your credit good, and this might take a longer process, is definitely doing the snowball method. And the snowball method is paying off the smaller bills first, or the bigger bills first, whichever way you decide to go. Some people do the big ones and then work their way down to the small ones. Some people do the small ones, then work their way up to the big ones. But in order to make a snowball, we start off small and then roll it up big. So start eliminating those small debts first, $100, $200, $300, $400, maybe $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 stuff. Eliminate those first. And then all those payments that you're making toward one. See, what the mistake that I feel like most people make is let's say, for example, you have, for simple math, you have 5 credit cards. They're all at $100 a piece. So you pay $25 a month on each one of them to try to get them eliminated. All right, well, now you finally got one paid off, but you still only paid $25 toward the other ones. No, you got one paid off. You've been paying $100 a month. So go ahead and pay $100 a month again. Keep on paying that, but just split it up between the other ones that are already gone. And I may have said that wrong. Let's say you're making the minimum payments on the other 3, but you're paying a lot more on this one. But if you can afford to continue to make those payments, now take that a lot that you've paid off and put it toward another one. And then once you got that one paid off, now you take 3 payments that you've been making and put it toward the other one. Now that you got that one paid off, now you take 4 payments that you've been making, that you already been making. You've shown that you can budget for it and put it toward the other one. So that way you can get your debt paid off a whole lot faster.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the best way to pay off debt. It's something that I've done more than once, and it's effective, and it's actually motivational, because once you pay off that small one, it just kind of like give you the motivation to kind of hit and tackle the next one. So that's what I teach people in my class.
Yeah, well, most people, and you're right, you're doing the right thing, but what most people fail to do is they just don't take that extra payment. They pay one off, and then they just continue making the same payments until they take the other one off. If you've been paying $100 a month, well, now you got one thing paid off. Oh, I only pay $75. And then just continue paying that 100 until you get it paid off.
Right.
That's the best way to eliminate debt. I don't like Dave Ramsey, but I do love his snowball method. All right, how can you make your money grow? Oh, I get this question so many times, and there's so many different answers to it. So many different answers. I don't even know where to start because there's so many different answers. I would tell you one thing that a lot of people ask me is like, oh, how can I do this? How can I do that? How can I make more money? The very first question I ask them is, what are you interested in? Right. And the reason I ask, what are you interested in? Because people see what I do and they want to get it. Like, how can I do this? How can I do that? But if you're not interested in these things, then it's going to become a job. And then if it becomes a job that you don't like, then you're going to not do it. So what are you interested in first? And then now let's find out what you're interested in. Now let's make a decision on what you want to, like, how can you make money from doing those things? One of the things though that's easy is definitely get some type of IRA. That's one way you can make your money grow. A Roth IRA, not traditional IRA. Roth IRA. That way, if you pull from it, you don't really pay taxes on it, and you pay taxes on interest that you made. Roth IRA, the interest payments are already being made. Traditional IRA, you still have to make interest payments. So those are the difference between the two. Roth is definitely better. Another way to make money is definitely doing your own stocks. Everybody think that it's so hard when they log on those programs and they see all those numbers, and it's I do logical trading. You know, what makes sense for the day. Um, if I see that gas prices are going up, I know it takes oil to make gas. So if gas prices are going up, then oil is going up. So let me invest in some oil companies. I know that COVID is slightly going away, even though there's a new strand coming in. People are traveling more now, so that means flight stocks are going back up. So if people are traveling more, flight stocks are going back up. Let me invest into flights now. I know that more women are getting their hair done and they buying lashes. So let me find these companies that do hair and that sell their hair and they make the lashes. And let me invest in. So that is exactly how stock works. I told somebody the other day is I say I mentor him, but I really don't. But find a problem that's going on in the world right now, or find a problem that you have, and then find a company that's trying to find a solution. All right. Now you're not the only person with this problem. You can't be. So if you find a problem that people are having, and then you find a company that's trying to find a solution to that problem, I take my chances on investing in that company, because if they find the answer to the problem, then everybody that has the problem are going to buy the service or buy the product. Everybody buy the service, buy the product, that makes the stock go up. Just think about Amazon back in 1989, before I was even born, when nobody knew about them. They knew that people had a problem with shipping. They knew people love online shopping, and they was trying to find an answer where they wouldn't have to go to a bunch of different places to get what they wanted. That was the problem. People had to go to a bunch of different websites and get what they wanted. They had to pay for shipping a bunch of different times, and then shipping would take 7 to 10 days for them to get there. Amazon, Jeff Bezos knew that was a problem, and he found a solution to it now, which raised him to be the richest man in the world, because he found the answer to a problem that many people were having.
Your answer
Same
tonight,
thing with Steve
I'm
Jobs.
gonna real quick. Your answer tonight to two of the questions, really the same question is, how do I increase my income, right? And so really it
Mhm.
is finding like you just said, finding a problem, and either if you want to create more income, finding a solution to that problem yourself,
You find a solution.
or
Yep.
find somebody else that is creating a solution to the problem and invest in them.
Yep.
So that's two ways.
Exactly. Yep, that's two
Good.
ways.
That's
Yep, two
good.
ways. Oh, and you
Yeah.
also can, of course, start your own business. That's a way of getting passive income. And there's a lot that goes with that. People think that you can just go online and start an LLC and post it, and then everybody's gonna come to your page. No, it does not work like that. It does not work. And there's a lot that goes along with actually starting a business. But definitely just the main ways that people make money. Definitely get you some type of retirement IRA, traditional IRA, Roth IRA. Like I said, Roth IRA is the best. Get you some type of investment portfolio. You can sign up with Robinhood. You can sign up with Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, any one of those. And they have people that you give them your money, they'll invest it for you, and you don't have to worry about it. They have a team of people that do that for you. And they just take a percent of what you make. They don't take nothing that you put in. They take a percent of what you make. It's not even a high percent. I think it's like 1% of what you make.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and they take that and they transfer in that account either monthly or yearly or something like that, and move forward. Another way to make more money: start your own business. Of course, you can do that, and then uh, capitalize on time off work. Time that you're not working your 9 to 5, times that you're not sleeping, times you're not doing things with your kids. Capitalize on those times to actually find solutions to those problems.
That's good. That's good. So Archie, if I wanted to invest on my own, what steps would I take? If I decide, you know what, I want to try to trade stock on my own, what are some of the steps that I would take to do that?
All right. So the very first step is you got to have a broker account. Trading is in a broker account is just like having a bank account. So, and as long as you have that bank account, that broker account, you can buy stocks. So you have bank accounts, you have broker accounts. The broker accounts where you put your money in, and then you're able to buy freely in the stock market with the money that you have. First, get one of those. Then the second thing is doing in this research. After you find a company that you feel, or companies that you feel is going to make your money grow, then you buy a number of shares. And so you're not putting your money into the company, you're buying shares of that company, basically. And the shares could be worth $1. So if the shares are worth $1, but later on they're $5, you made technically $5 for every share that you bought. And that's how stocks work. You buying shares of a company at their current price, and as the price of that stock goes up, the price of your share goes up. So if you were to sell it, these are what my shares are worth now. I bought them at this price, but this is what they're worth now. Kind of like a house, you know. You can buy your house at $100,000 and you save it. I mean, you keep putting stuff in it, and 10 years later it's worth $150. And you sell it for $150. It's the same thing. So you buying low and selling high.
Going back to, you talked about kind of cleaning up your credit. So after divorce, I clean up my credit. I get myself off as an authorized user, from kind of separate myself. Now, what do I need to do to start trying to rebuild my credit? What steps do I take to rebuild?
Okay. And I'm gonna do 2 in 1 right here, because another question you asked in here was, if my spouse made poor choices that affected my credit, is there credit forgiveness for that? Nope.
Okay.
Absolutely not. So you would have to start the rebuild process. And the rebuild process first starts with you getting off negative items on your credit report, whether that's late payments, whether that's collections, charge off, whatever those negative items are, you want to first try to get those off. At the same time, though, you do want to rebuild. You want to start the rebuilding process. So let's say you're going through divorce, and then the other person is keeping the house. So that means you have to go get you an apartment, or move in with family or whatever. One thing you can do is start reporting your rent. So rentreporters.com, you can use that to help you build credit. And what they do, they actually backdate your rent. So whoever you're renting from, if you moved in with a family friend, if you moved in with your parents, they'll let you back. You can say you've been living there for the last 2 years. They'll let you backdate your rent. They'll give you 2 years of positive payment history. But if you don't move into an apartment, they're not going to back the landlord, unless you're cool with them, not going to say, hey, you've been living here for the last 2 years, unless you're cool with them, unless you ask them nicely or whatever. They might backdate it for you. But if not, but that's still a way you can start contributing positive credit to your report. The second thing would be, there's a self-lender. A lot of people don't know about self-lender, but self-lender is out there. What it does is basically they give you a $500 loan, and they put it on a CD, and you can pay on it for 1 year or 2 years. Most people do choose the 1 year route, which is like $45 a month. And every time you make that payment, they credit you a positive payment history to your credit report. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of 12 months or 24 months, whichever route you choose, they would then give you all your money back. You lose like $30, but what you gain from it is substantial. After you remove the negative, added a couple positive things, then you start get you a credit card. Having a credit card in your profile is about 30% of your credit score. So you definitely want to have it to not only one increase increase how your credit profile looks, because it's not always about score. I've seen people who have 800 credit scores get denied for stuff, all because their credit profile is not strong. So the stronger your credit profile, the more likely you are to get, the more likely you're able to get approved for stuff. So now you want to add the credit card. You got the backdated rent, you got the installment loan, add the credit card, which will then give you another boost. And then you can also buy a trade line, or you can become an authorized user on somebody else's credit to give you that next boost. After removing all the negative, or most of the negative, adding positive, because removing negative does nothing if you don't add positive accounts. So removing negative, add positive, then you'll start seeing increases in your score, and you'll immediately be able to start apply for stuff and get the things that you need. Whether it's new house, new car, whatever that may be. Something that's in your budget, though.
Something that's in your budget now.
Yeah, Just because you got a 750 don't mean you can afford a Lamborghini.
Right. Thank you for saying that. So Archie, how do if people want to get in contact with you, how do they do that? So what are the
Yeah, so we do free consultations through my website. You definitely have to sign up. Our calendar stays booked a lot. But it's www.wkfingroup.com. And then you can go on our page and see all the services that we do. And you also it has a book online tab. You can go on there and book a time where you can set up a free consultation. We talk with you about, basically whatever you sign up for, business credit, personal credit, or just some financial and investment advice. You have a free consultation for like an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, depending on which one you choose. And we go over, your goals, what we needed to do to establish your goals. And then from there, you choose if you're going to do it yourself, which we pretty much give you all the advice to do it yourself, or you want to hire us to do it. And then that's when we'll take over and just, have you hold your hand through the process, but we're doing all the work.
All right. Well, Archie, I will say this, that my husband every now and then picks your brain. Derek Oliver, he
Oh yeah, yeah.
you taught him how to fix our credit. You
Okay.
coached him through that, and you coached him through the investment process. And so I appreciate you for the time that you even invested in us. And so everybody, WKFIN.com. You can reach out to
WKFIN group.com.
Okay, WKFINgroup.com. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, if y'all need anything in terms of setting up your budget, getting you a savings plan, we're going to do that debt snowball. We'll walk you through the debt snowball reduction. We do credit education, but Archie's team really does the credit repair. And so you guys can reach out to us, of course, at budgetmeblack.com. Don't forget to share this video because Archie was dropping some wisdom tonight, and so we appreciate that. We appreciate you answering all of our questions. I had people text and DM us some questions, and so Archie touched all of those on tonight, and so I appreciate you taking your time.
There's one more question that I didn't get to answer, and I want to answer that one too. It says, who's responsible for the debt occurred during the marriage or our debt wasn't addressed in the divorce? All right, so with that, whoever the primary person is, that's the person that's responsible for the debt. Now, let's say I'm just gonna use me. Let's say I'm married and we're going through divorce. So, but the house is in my name, but we're gonna give the house to her. That needs to be on paper, right? Because if I don't want that debt on my profile no more, I need to be able to show that during our settlement agreement, this house is passed on to her. And then you need to also probably resell. If you're the primary person, make them the primary person. And there's a process you go through. I don't know how tedious this is with mortgages, but there's a process you go through to get that done and make that secondary person the primary person. And you might just have to resell the house and go through that whole mortgage process again to get your name off the mortgage and that person that can have it. With credit cards, if you are the primary person and the other person want to keep the credit cards, they can't do it. They got to apply for their own. Car, if you are the primary person, the person is a co-signer, you can then resell the car. But you have to, it's going through the process again of you selling their car, just getting a bill of sale, selling their car to them, and letting that debt be off your profile and onto their profile. It's already on their profile anyway, but you are the primary person. If something happens, the car company is not going directly to the cosigner, they're going to you. So that needs to be taken care of and settled during the divorce. If not, and y'all make a verbal agreement, make sure you put it on paper. That way, if you have to dispute anything off your credit, you have paper right here saying that this is the agreement we made, signed and sealed, notarized, and you can send a copy of that off the credit to the credit bureau to get those things off your credit report.
Thank you, Archie. And then I did have someone ask a question What is a credit profile?
A credit profile.
Mm-hmm.
So people looking at your credit score, and then you have a credit profile. The credit profile is everything that makes up your credit score. Credit cards, on payment history, credit utilization, installment loans. So everything that makes up your credit score is a credit profile. A good credit profile has at least 5 things reporting on it, at least 5. And so you want to have at least 3 credit cards, on all good payment history, probably like 2 installment loans solo. Installment loan could be the rent reporters and the self-lender. 3 credit cards, 2 installment loans on there, that will make your credit profile at least a 750 or higher, depending on how old it is. But a credit profile is what makes
you want a good mix of different types of credit, and then like you said, you want a nice history of credit. So like the rent profile, having somebody, to date that and backdate that to give you that good history. And then of course you want to pay, pay everything on time.
Right. And then also you can buy a trade line too. There are companies out there that sell you trade lines. What a trade line is basically there's a company that has a list of credit cards that they got, and they add you as an authorized user on those cards to give you that boost, to give you that history on your credit profile, to give you that on-time payment, and to give you that utilization, basically to give you 80% of your score. That's why kids at the age 16, 13, and depending on the credit card company, you can add them on a credit card and that score is automatically a 750 or higher. My son, he's 13 and he has a 747 credit score. I just add him on the one card that will let me add him on right now. So that's a good start for him. And I just got to teach him the game and show him how to use it, when he's older and start making money and can actually really use it. But at this moment though, 13, he's got his own card. 16, 17, when he gets a job, he can apply for his own gas card, use that responsibly. 18, 20, 21, he's able to do a lot of things on his own from there.
Yes. You giving him a huge boost by doing
he got a good start. He got a good start.
A real good start. And just so people understand what an authorized user is. And so in some instances, the authorized user means that you have access to the card. So if you are we talked about taking yourself off as an authorized user when you share the card with the spouse. But just because someone has added you as an authorized user don't necessarily mean you get a card and you get access to it, okay?
Unless they give it to you.
Unless they give it to you. So like with Archie, with his son right now, he probably don't have the actual credit card in hand, but he's just building his credit. And so just so people understand, the authorized user don't necessarily have access to the card. You just really building your credit by being on somebody else's credit line.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. All righty. So did we answer all the questions?
Yeah, that was all the ones that you sent me. Let me just make sure.
Okay.
Yep, that was it.
Okay. So thank y'all so much for asking questions on the live, and for all my friends and family that sent me questions. I appreciate you. Again, Archie, let me make sure I got this right. It's WKFIN Group.com if you want to reach Archie. And of course, y'all know y'all can reach out to us. It's budgetmeblack.com, and we both would love to help you, coach you to financial freedom, and to help you build your credit and build your wealth, so that you can provide for generations to come. And so you can be like Archie, he giving his son a leg up. And so we all can be doing that. So just learning, taking the time to just learn from others, just taking a moment, and you can reach out to him, get a coaching session. Same here with me, get a coaching session. We'll be glad to help you. So, all right, thank you so much. And y'all have a good night. Thank you, Archie.
You're welcome.
All right.